silence between Mafeng and me stretched for what felt like eternity. Though my heart was pounding in my chest, I had made my choice long before this moment. By this time, the voices outside were turning into a chorus of murmurs. Mafeng's eyes pleaded with me one last time. Tislo, please. His voice was barely above a whisper, now filled with helplessness. But then, I placed my hand on his shoulder, squeezing out a little smile that will make me look confident. I will not run, Mafeng, and I will not bow either. As though the man by the door was hearing our conversation inside, he hit the door one last time, and it gave way with a mighty crash, revealing a flood of locally made torchlights, illuminating the faces of the kingmakers and warriors who had come to claim me. Then the chief priest, an old man named Warab, with a body smeared in white chalk and cowries hanging around his neck, stepped forward and said, Tislo, Tislo, the gods beckon to you. The throne awaits you. I slowly took a step forward, locking eyes with him, trying to muster every courage I have. The gods? The same ones who abandoned my father on his dying bed? I asked. Then I continued. They abandoned him, but Jesus Christ did not. A murmur immediately rippled through the crowd. Some looked uneasy and others furious, while Mafeng held his breath beside me. Do you defy the ways of our forefathers? Asked angrily. Yes, I said confidently. If you reject the gods, then your fate is sealed. Warab said as he moved a step backward with his staff in one hand. He then reached into his locally made raffia pouch and pulled out a black powder, muttering incantations as he flung it towards me. But the moment the powder left his hand, a bright light surged from nowhere, surrounding me like a shield. Warab's powder never touched me, and only God knows what would have happened if it did. It, however, dissipated in mid-air as if swallowed by an invisible force. Now amazed, Warab staggered backward again, but this time his eyes filled with terror. My power has never been intercepted in this manner before, he said. Suddenly, the staff in his hand broke into 2 pieces. The entire crowd, now amazed, shouted and began to whisper in groups. This Tislo carries a greater power. Daradum, one of the kingmakers, shouted. Another elder, Dara Kangyang, who happens to be the oldest among them, stepped forward, with his face looking towards the sky. This must be the kind of power our king saw and turned away from the gods before he passed. Who are we to say he was wrong? Dara Kangyang then brought his face down and looked at me. Tislo, Tislo, I know you don't want to be king, especially not under our fetish customs and traditions, which some of us only endured for many years. We are ready to drop all the evil practices associated with our culture and be your subjects. Only agree to be our king. Our village needs this kind of power that you have. We are in darkness and we need light. You have this light, and it is only proper that you become our king. Would you please be our king? He asked. I nodded. Yes, I will rule with truth and justice, but I will not serve the gods of our ancestors. My kingdom will be under the light of Jesus Christ. Now left without a choice, one by one the kingmakers bowed their heads in acceptance. At this point, Mafeng screamed in disbelief. "This law, what just happened?" I smiled at him, feeling lighter than I had ever been in several years. A new beginning, my friend.